What is going on, brothers and sisters? Eric Rosen here, your internal strength coach, here to show you how to overcome your greatest challenges so you can shine your brightest light. It is November 18th, 2018. It is a Sunday. Happy Sunday fun day. Let's talk today about more about transformation, but specifically about when you're going through transformation and you're not quite sure exactly what's happening. You know that change is happening, okay, and you should obviously become aware that change is inevitable and that it's bound to happen sooner or later. But even if you can't quite put your finger on it, whatever it is that you're going through, when you notice, and you'll know, I mean, when you're, feel like your usual self, the way that you perceive the world, your feelings are changing, or they feel more erratic. As in those close relationships, letting those people know, like, hey, I may not be certain what it is that I'm moving into, what new energy I'm moving into, but here's the deal. I know that there's something going on, and I just want you to know that, because the thing is that our preference is for things to always remain static, because change signifies moving into something new and unknown, and the unknown scares the shit out of us. So if your partner, close friends, family members start to see a change in you, you're around them a lot, they're going to see that change. So it can be alarming to them, because they feel like that threatens kind of like the status quo that makes them feel safe. So a lot of times I think that it can create a thing where you can actually give that person more peace of mind if you just let them know, like, hey, I'm going through some change right now, especially if it is a romantic partner, because, what can happen, especially in a relationship, is where the partner starts to feel threatened, like things are changing, like, oh, maybe this person doesn't love me as much anymore, maybe their feelings have changed, and what is it that I'm doing wrong? And then you start to take on this feeling of like you're doing something wrong, or things are falling apart. A lot of times it's good to just give that reassurance to the partner, that, hey, I'm just going through some stuff. It's not a bad thing, or could be a bad thing. It depends where you're at. It depends where you're at, honestly. In your chart, in terms of astrology. The thing is that when, just based on where the planets were at when you were born, and where the planets are currently at in space, it's going to have an impact on how your life is being shaped. Okay, so, you could be going through good or bad change. I try to focus on the positive aspect, that any change is positive, because any challenge that comes up out of it is actually going to provide growth in the end. It's just forcing you to go out of your comfort zone and to grow from it. So especially romantic relationship, of both people are going through a change, which seems to be pretty probably common right now, just because of the energy of 2018, is to not only convey that awareness to each other that you're both going through transformation, but also to, and this goes both ways, even whether, no matter what, if it's one partner going through something or both, is to give that space, for that transformation, for that growth, because, that's the ideal situation. A partner comes and says, hey, I'm going through some stuff. Can you just be patient with me and give me room to grow? And that doesn't mean that the partner, necessarily has to accept bad behavior and, let them like cross boundaries in terms of, just how they show up in the relationship. But knowing too that it's, if you've created this boundary of like what you're willing to accept and not accept, but then if you're placing a bunch of expectations within those boundaries, that's when things can get really tricky. So establish those boundaries and then go from there without the expectations, because If you start setting those expectations, those are basically just setting landmines for when change happens, and inevitably your partner's going to step on that landmine and it's going to blow up, and a blow up is going to result in disagreement or an argument of some sort. So, you know, that, I mean, everybody knows this, right? The relationships like aren't perfect. You know, there's always like this ebb and flow, this give and take. But I think that, you know, it's important too for people to understand that at the end of the day, because change is going to happen, you know, you may take a different trajectory than what your partner is. And there sometimes becomes a certain point, you know, where a relationship could get stronger because of the change, like you know, meld you guys together closer, or it could take a trajectory where you're both drifting apart. And it's important to know, you know, after you're going through this transformation process, or, you know, as you're going through it, to know which way is it heading. And the way to do that is to check in, you know, periodically about how you really feel about your partner, you know. And, you know, if you're feeling like you're trying to force being close to them, that could be a red flag. But on the flip side, sometimes, you know, maybe you just have to step out of like the everyday, you know, hustle and bustle of your to-do list in your mind, and just get into that feeling center and really check in and see, you know, how do I really feel about my partner? Am I honoring my partner amongst all of like the crazy change and transition going on in my life? So anyways, hope this helped you guys. I'm going to run EricRosenCoaches.com, Eric Rosen Coaches, Facebook and YouTube. You guys have an awesome evening. Take care.